This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 127 of Banging on the Drum. I think this episode's name is going to be something about a Mile High Meltdown, but
like a Mile High Meltdown.
Yeah. But as always, I'm your host P Dog, joined along with our other host M Dog. And M Dog, how you feeling today after that game?
So I'm angry about it, right? Obviously, but it's I have some not good math that makes me I feel like I'm gonna feel better about it because of my stupid math from 15 years ago.
Okay, we will get into that, but I do not know what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, so just Aaron Rodgers first year.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, it looks like I got to pay the piper this week. So we had the 6-pack in a pound challenge. Mike right now in that is 3-2, but he hit his pound it game. So he's plus 300. I made the Packers my pound it game because I was a dumbass this week and missed it. And so Mike's plus 300 right now, and I am 3-2, but I am sitting at $0 or zero bing bongs. And there's no chance that I can catch you because we got one game in common and one game we're on the opposite sides of, but it doesn't matter. I think the best I can do is plus 200. And if I do that, you will still be plus 300. So you're good. You made it. You don't have to take your shirt off.
Shirt is on. Shirt is on. No sun drop today. Probably for the better for me.
I came in prepared. So you got to commentate this one, Mike.
Oh, so you're holes already dug out and everything. This is going to take 3 seconds. Just going to kill it, I bet. Yep. He's got her back. Up to the mouth, squeezing. Oh man, we're gonna be done here in just no time flat. I bet you Pat here. Oh no, I thought he was gonna do a little bit better than me with the dying afterwards, but looks pretty similar to the way things go when I try to do the same thing. So looks like his eyes are red, or his eyes are watering a bit. His face is a little bit red, so he is not hacking up a lung like I did, though. That's good.
Yeah, no, everything went down the right pipe, but yeah, that definitely does give me a shot of something. Holy crap! I just fixed what my mic was. I'm doing it now. It feels a lot better. Can you still hear me decently well?
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. All right. Everything's clean. Nothing's broke. It made me sweat though. I'm sweating now. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, maybe it's just an abnormally warm day in October.
That is true as well. But also on top of it, I know we don't do our overs and unders this week. We had a buddy in town and we were going out eating whatever I wanted, drinking whatever I wanted. So my stomach feels like shit. So that was just the perfect thing to put right on top of shitty stomach full of pizza. Every kind of bullshit, beer, cheese, whatever, brunch, Bloody Marys, beers of all sorts. I didn't drink much today, so we're good. Just had one Bloody Mary in the morning, so it's going to be a sober episode this time. But you ready to get into the Packer game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't want to relive the Packer game. I had to be warned by my wife this evening to basically not let it ruin my whole day, and it didn't. But it was still I was frustrated with the outcome today. Which I'm sure most of us that are listening are frustrated with the outcome, right? We're a huge Packers podcast. I can't imagine that we have non-Packer fans that listen to us at this point. It'd be pretty crazy.
I think we got Craig. We got the K-Dog. He's a Steelers fan. So we got one Steelers fan that supports us.
Okay, yeah.
So shout out to Craig listening, even though it has nothing to do with his team. But I'll get into the summary here real quick. Just what I got from watching the game, but all you guys got this. So pretty rough game for the most part. Packers come out flat, get their ass handed to them by pretty much the worst team in the AFC, one of the worst teams in the AFC, going to halftime down 9-0. And then whatever gets said in the locker room, they come out in the second half with way more fire. But, take the lead at one point, but lose to a pretty damn bad team with just pretty bad decision-making and play calling at the end of that. But do we want to run through just the big drives? I won't hit every drive, but just basically scoring drives and just refresh the listeners. I got to clock up, so I'll know I'll do it in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, do what you're going to do. I think that's important. Kind of give us a little quick shakedown of what we got.
So Broncos come out firing that first drive. They take it 62 yards for a field goal, but they definitely looked better than that. So we did end up getting pretty lucky. I can't remember if there was a penalty that pushed him back, and then we ended up holding him to a field goal because it did not look like we were going to stop him on that opening drive and whatever we did. So that was a pretty good victory. But then we go 3 and out, they go 3 and out, we go 5 and out. They get another field goal on another decent drive, 11 plays, 70-yard drive. But in this first half, there wasn't really much to write home about. Packers get the ball back, punt it. Broncos get the ball back, punt it. And then this is the one where we have a decent drive, and then we end up missing the field goal up there, which was just an absolute jinx job by the announcer. I was going to look up who the announcer was before this game, and I should know it. But, man, I was not enjoying him the whole game long. And it wasn't just how Packer fans were like, "Oh, I hate Joe Buck and Troy Aikman because they don't like our team" type deal. But it just was unenjoyable me
No,
listening to
so
my.
yeah, so I was thinking in my head today watching the game. I really miss Buck and Aikman, and I really miss like when Greg Olson does our stuff. And I don't know who Greg Olson's partner is right offhand, but the guys that are good, I'd much prefer to have them doing the game.
Yeah, but they were like, Anders Carlson hasn't missed anything all year. We were watching him warm up, and he was hitting them from 58. They was just crushing the back of the net. Didn't miss one of them, and like
Yeah,
it
and
was just
the wind
bad.
didn't look bad. Like I was trying to look at the flags down by the field, and the wind didn't look bad. I think like this is just going to happen. Like there's Anders Carlson is going to miss kicks just like everybody else in the league does, and this was just an inopportune time for that to happen.
Yeah. Do you remember how long it was off the top of your head? 43 yarder. So
I was going to say
um,
right around 40. So
yeah, so he missed a 43-yard field goal. That gives the Broncos good field position. They end up going down, getting a field goal, and basically taking us to halftime. So at halftime, we get in there 9-0 Broncos. Like I said, whatever they're saying at the halftime speech or whatever is getting Packers fired up and ready to go because the Packers came out and then they looked pretty good on that first drive of the second half, driving the ball down the field, but they do end up getting stopped and then having to take a field goal there. But then that being said, then the Broncos just answer right back, go down the field, get their touchdown to put them up 16-3. Packers strike back. We get a touchdown. This one, we want to talk about like the touchdown a little bit. Like, sure, we put together a decent drive. We got some penalties to help us put together this drive. But that touchdown pass to Dobbs there was a pretty shitty pass, like
yeah,
where it could have been.
either you or Riley said something about like you got to put a little zip on that in our group chat, right?
Yeah. That
And
was
so,
right. Yeah.
and so he's absolutely right that he's open there, and if you throw that hard, like it becomes a little bit different. Now, looking forward a little bit to our next touchdown, when he does throw the ball hard, guys fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I honestly I didn't even think of bringing that one, but yeah, that touchdown was awesome. Like in the better lucky than good department. But yeah, this one I did not agree with what Gene Stezistor or whatever the fuck his name is said about that. Like it really did not look like an interception. He like came back and he was so matter of fact about it. That's how you know this game sucked because I was getting frustrated with like
Yeah,
even
and
those
so
guys.
what he said was that he believed was it who was the guy? It was Sertan that would have got the pick, I believe. Came down, his feet came down first, which means it's a catch for the defense and not the offense because the offensive feet didn't come down first, right? So that was his kind of belief. You remember him saying that?
Yeah, and it just doesn't sound like a real thing.
It's not. So the on X or whatever on Twitter, they threw out like the actual rule, and it's a simultaneous catch always goes to the passing team.
Yeah, he was so wrong about it, and he was so
Yep.
happy to say it. I didn't see any facts to like back it up, but just like in my football watching, like I was just like, there's no way what he's saying is true, and he was just like so
Yeah.
matter of fact, like yeah, they actually got this one wrong, but
It
whatever.
does make me feel a little bit differently about the Fail Mary, though, right? Like, so, like, if you're going to say that that was a simultaneous catch, which I probably will still never believe, then they got the call right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, I mean, that would cost us anyway, so I can't.
yeah. But anyways, not the greatest throw. It looked like he threw an open receiver into coverage, and then
Yeah.
Dobbs was just kind of a beast and ripped
And so
that one away.
those pass plays, I think, like make me think like, do we have it with Jordan Love? And then there's other ones like the following touchdown that I'm like, he's got it, like he's there. That catch needs to be made. Aaron Rodgers would have lit Dobbs up for missing that ball.
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
one we're off his hands.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get that touchdown. We make it a 10-16 game. Then the defense comes out. They do what they have to do, get us a 3-0, and we go back down the field and we get another touchdown. And that's the one Mike was talking about where it was ripped. Was it ripped at Dobbs and then Reed caught it? Or
Yep.
okay. So yeah.
So it goes up. So it's a Dobbs is running kind of like a little slant into the middle. Love sidearms it right into him, hits him right in the hands, kind of on his back shoulder. Really like an awesome throw. I think from a 4-yard throw. It's not like he does this in a ridiculous like distance or anything. Awesome throw. Should have been a touchdown. I thought for sure like was nothing once he missed it, and then but it bounces back into Jaden Reed's hands, right? And so we end up with a touchdown there. But like that's a throw that I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to see out of quarterback. Is like an adjustment, throw it hard in there, and our young wide receivers need to like deal with that to some extent, right? I think both things are happening right now. Is that our young wide receivers are growing and Jordan Love is growing. So Jordan Love's going to get better at the decision-making part of it, like he has with Dobbs on the first one. And then our wide receivers are going to get better when he does make the exceptional play to make the play with it.
Yeah, it definitely should have been caught by Dobbs. Dobbs should have had 2 touchdowns today, but whatever. Better lucky than good sometimes. So that was nice to see. But then sure enough, when we needed another clutch stop, we did not get it. So
no, we did get another clutch stop. No, they come down and they get a field goal.
Yeah.
Go up in 17.
Yeah. And that's
and then so we have a pretty decent drive going. Dylan gets 30 yards on that one play to get us within probably 5 yards of what is marked out as field goal range for Carlson, which I would assume that he actually has a leg to hit further than that, just never has.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. I don't know that for sure.
Especially in Denver too. Like
yep.
They were kicking the ball out of the back end zone every kickoff, like no problem. Like the ball was just like ripping through the air. So yeah, I think he could probably hit. I think the record field goal too is maybe hitting Denver. Actually, I think Justin Tucker hit somewhere else. Yeah.
It's in Detroit.
Okay.
But I think previous to that, it wasn't Denver. And so like we were right there. And then I thought that the Packers play calling went ultra conservative, Dylan up the middle, right? Hey, we're right near this. All we got to do is get these 5 yards. Then we're going to be inside range. We can kick this field goal. We can win the game. We can get out of here with a W, right? And then they do a designed run from Jordan Love for play 2, which a holding gets called on. And then we're completely out of field goal range after that. And so the play calling in that aspect, when you get ultra conservative, makes it so hard for Jordan Love to excel, right? Like you have to be making extreme plays at that point in order to succeed. And I just don't know that like we're there yet to like in a clutch moment when all the pressure's on that he's going to make these extreme plays. The extreme plays will happen, like we had good plays all over the place today. I think with him throwing the ball, it just wasn't. I think when you dump the pressure on top of it, we're just not ready to be like in it right then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do there. Because yeah, like you said, we had that nice big play to AJ Dillon. We're cruising, and then just the holding is going to set us back. I think like the only thing that I was real mad about the play calling, maybe, or decision making, is it's 2 weeks in a well, I guess we had a bye week last week, but it's 2 games in a row where we have a 3rd and long, where it's not a situation where we need to get the whole long part of it because we're 4 down territory at the very worst. And then Love just like lets it rip into an area where it just seemed like it was, I hope I get lucky on this. Like it wasn't like, it didn't look like, oh, I got a guy and I kind of messed up. It was just like, well, this is where I'm going and hopefully it works out. Where we could have tried to get like, I don't know, back to where we were. But I guess then we'd have to kick field goal. But it's always,
right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And I will say something about my 4th grade flag football stuff. This makes me feel way better about kids not running the right routes and like making bad decisions inside of the gameplay because I was getting a little frustrated with them on Saturday. We had our tournament, and then I watched the Packers, and I'm like, these guys are pros, and they're still making the same fucking mistakes at that level. So I can be okay with my 4th grade team not having it all buttoned up at this point.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was a big mistake there. So do you think that was like a wrong route ran?
Nope, but I think that Jordan Love makes the wrong decision there.
Yeah, because I think he didn't think that safety was going to come over the top. But like even there, the safety ultimately makes the interception and ends the game.
So Jordan, AJ Dillon had leaked out and probably had one defender in front of him, which could make the tackle. Like I'm not saying that he can't, but in order to get us back to about the 25, right, get us up to the 25. And so even if you don't get a first down there, if you pass that field goal line, right, which in theory Carlson can make that. Maybe he misses it. Maybe we lose this game either way. But like instead of chucking that ball up top, right, like you could just take and try to get the 20 instead of try to put us, And so I think that the pressure, he's like, all right, I have to do this. Like this has to be done by me. Everybody else is like, at this point in the season, I feel like he thinks his team will fail him if he doesn't make the play, right? Which is a tough space to get into.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's quite the case. Like to me, it just seemed like just a shitty decision. Like, hoping.
But why do you make that shitty decision? I mean, if we're being honest, why are we going to make that a shitty decision?
I think it's just an unrealistic faith in what you are capable of at that time. A little Favre-ish almost. Like, I think I'm going to let this rip into a window and I'm going to be able to make this play that.
Nobody.
Yeah, it was.
In reality, nobody. Like, even, like, and I think it's tough for us to watch him throw interceptions and, like, throw balls into spaces the way Favre did. I think it's tough for the fans of the last, 15 years to watch because we never watched that. We watched him protect the ball ridiculously well, even while throwing into tight windows.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get into the SWOT analysis of the game? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the Packers in the future.
Yeah. So I think so. I'm going to let you jump off with this. I think you have a pretty good handle on what these are. So
and yes, please jump in whenever you can. But yeah, strengths, I did not really see like way too many today. So I was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. But halftime speeches, that has to be one of them. We come out in the second half and we tend to play way better in the second half. We played way better in the second half in the Saints game. We played way better in the second half in the Detroit game. And the game today, we definitely played way better in. But like a real one, I guess I would say, is red zone defense. This game could have got way out of hand if we started breaking a little bit more. So the Packers hold the Broncos to 1 for 4 in the red zone. So at 4 trips in the red zone, Broncos only get 1 touchdown there. Uh, Defense in general, I guess, has been a positive note. I know we have our issues with Joe Barry and our weird, like, hey, let's just play 5 yards off the ball, even though it's 3rd and 1 or shit
So
like that.
yep. So there are some issues, but I think overall our defense is doing what it needs to do. I think that what we lack on defense is turnovers, which I don't like. However, for the most part, they're doing what we think is necessary. You and I, what banging on the drum thinks is necessary to win games, and that's whole. I mean, so today we keep them under 20 points, and
Yeah.
an NFL offense should be able to score at least 3 touchdowns every week.
Yeah. And if you look at it, I mean, we held them under 20 points. We held the Raiders under 20 points, hold the Raiders to 17. And then we held the Saints to 17, the
And the Bears
Bears to 20. So, I mean, they're keeping us in games. Like your offense should be putting
right.
up 21 points a game at a bare minimum if you're a solid team. So defense, I'll give that as a strength. And then 4th down conversions, we were 2 for 2 on them. Didn't look up the whole year thing, but it does seem like we clutch up on 4th downs and we're capable of getting the job done on 4th down. When you would think, a young team would be a little bit nervous on those downs, but 2 for 2 today.
So strengths for me that I think that I'm seeing is that Jordan Love, and I see a lot of stuff that people hate Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is effective, and I see that he breaks down a defense, throws good passes, can be productive. There's something that's lacking still, for sure. However, I think all the metrics that we were kind of looking for at the beginning of the season are there. We're just not getting wins currently.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I got it written down somewhere, but we can get into it. I guess that's like more was an opportunity. But so we're 2-4 on the season. But if you look at like 1-score games, I mean, basically every game was a 1-score game, except for outside of Detroit. And we've scored 130 points and we've given up 132 points. So I mean, there is something like this team, is a couple bounces away from being a 500 team, and then just a couple more away from being, 4-1 or no 5-1, whatever. I mean, that would be a drastic stretch if you got all of those things to go your way. But we're not getting absolutely blown out in games, even when it does feel like we're getting our asses just handed to us in games. So, but I think that's with the defense being the strength there is they're keeping us in games. The offense just isn't capitalizing when we need them to. And yeah, past 2 games, just a bad decision going deep at a time like it didn't look like we need to go deep. But then I will fully admit, if he completed that pass, I'd have been like, that was fucking genius, man. Who would have thought of going deep there?
I'm always for the play action Bomberooski. And honestly, I would have done it if I was Denver at the end of the half. They didn't need to. They walked it down there with the 45 seconds pretty easily. But
yeah. Now let's get into weaknesses. This one is very obvious. I mean, you'll see it all over, but just the starts, like the start of every game, we cannot start strong. We cannot put pressure on teams. We never have the lead. We're never making teams like wheel and deal to try to get like back in the game. And it's going to kill us. Like
it is killing us. I mean, so I would argue that at least 3 of our losses are because of that. Like we are dealing in the second half like ridiculously well. And because we're down, 2 or 3 scores walking into the second half, then we're just, we're struggling right out the jump.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that is probably our most detrimental flaw right now. But I guess then if we get into the next weakness, run defense, we gave up 5.8 yards per carry in this game. So with a defense that we thought was going to be like very good at stopping the run, I think. Granted, Devondre Campbell's out. Wyatt went down. But I mean, even when he was still in there, he did go down pretty early. But yeah, they just seemed like they could run the ball down our throat when they really wanted to. So that was not good. It all surprises me when these teams are averaging like 5.8 yards a carry and then they're just not continuing to gouge us like that.
I don't think that to some extent, I think getting that 5.8 yards a carry is due to that, the way Joe Barry sets up his defenses in the middle of the field, right? So it was at one point I saw a play that was 3rd and 5 and not one second level defender or 3rd level, right? So safety, corner, linebacker was within 5 yards, not one.
Yeah.
Like I don't even understand like how you can be lined up like that, but it doesn't make any sense at all. Right. It wasn't at the end of the game. Like there was no point when we should have been playing prevent because all we had to do was keep 2 scores off the board. I couldn't understand it. Like, even if they've got 2nd and 5, there's no reason to be 5 yards off the ball with every second level defender.
Yeah. And I just don't get it in general. Like what there is, like, is it like some sort of like buzz zone that you're like, hey, I'm not here, but that's my spot. Like,
so no one moved in front of that 5-yard line either.
Yeah.
And no one moved into that 5-yard space. They completed a 4-yard pass underneath and then got the first down. So like, in my brain, I didn't understand it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. It seems like very dumb, but it seems too dumb to like be what it actually is, if that makes any sense. Like if we can see that, they must be doing something smarter or trying to do something smarter. Because if it's just like,
but maybe like maybe it's just that simple. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else because when he gets to the red zone, he gets those stops because his defense can't back up anymore. Like they can't be 20 yards
Yeah.
off. There's only 20 yards to the back of the end zone. I don't know. Like it's a wild way to set up a defense, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, that just hammered the next weakness isn't just play calling on defense, but then play calling on offense. It just seems like we can't catch a rhythm and just keep like a methodical or a nice methodical drive going. It seems like if we want to finish a drive, we need some sort of flag to do it. And it's just not looking pretty. It's very tough sledding, I guess, at the very best, like on a drive. There's nothing smooth about what the Packers are doing right now. So
no, and even if we're going to get wins, they're going to right. So we're not going to be getting wins that are dominant wins, and that's
unless we play the Bears more often.
I mean, at this point, maybe that's not even going to be the case.
Yeah, no, it does not feel like that Bears game is going to go as smooth as the first one did, but
right.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
We're going to win the rest of our games by at least 14 each one. I'm not worried.
Yeah, and then the last weakness is just Jordan Love's decision making at the end of the games. But we don't even need to tap that again. Like we talked about that one enough. But as opportunities go, like we already said, every game we've been in, basically every game. The only team that's really whooped our ass is Detroit, and
even that 2 scores with like 7 minutes to go, and you're playing okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember texting you. I was very, very drunk that night, but I remember texting you and be like, "All we got to do is score in the next 2 minutes," and then they gave up like a penalty that got Detroit a first down that like kind of changed the way it played out. But I think that was the over the line penalty.
Yeah, it was actually. And then did you see Myles Garrett do it today and block the field goal and they didn't call it?
Yep.
I think you were right. Like as long as you just don't touch anybody, you're good. So like I can't remember if we went back and seen if Quay like actually touched somebody when he did that, but
yeah, I don't know, but like you should be able to just jump over the line. Like I don't think that should be a rule.
Yeah, Myles Garrett did it and blocked the field goal, and everybody was like, "Damn, that guy's amazing." And,
how athletic he is. Like, oh yeah, so the Packers got a guy that does similar things, right?
Yeah, not quite on that level yet, but hopefully one day.
Athletic and like defensively that he will be Myles Garrett, but athletically he's probably pretty damn close to Myles Garrett.
Oh, I like one of your opportunities that I seen you have. So we need to start giving halftime speeches before the game. So that is a great opportunity. We could do that.
Yeah, I think that we need to be reaching out to LaFleur and just say, let's just switch your halftime speech where you're down 12-0 to before the game, and we should be rolling. Then we'll have to figure out something for halftime when we're up, 17-3 or whatever it was.
All right, you keep taking over. You added some more. So
I think that to some extent we got another opportunity we can have is throw traditional play calling in our situational, like start of the game, like our scripted plays out the window, and do something fun, do something like a little bit crazy, like a flea flicker, get a big play, get the energy up in the first half. I think the best example of seeing teams do this and kind of change their culture through it is the Detroit Lions. They've taken a lot of risk to like win games. Last year's last game against us, they did something along those lines, threw out like 2 or 3 trick plays in that game in order to get the win in a game that didn't mean anything, and everybody knew it didn't mean anything unless the Packers won. And then I just think that Matt LaFleur might as well have fun with the season. There's no reason to be conservative at this point. So 2-4. If we're going to stay conservative, maybe we get back to 500 or 1 game under, 1 game over, right? So if we get extremely lucky, we end up going 9-8 and like scrape into the playoffs, right? Like that would be excessively lucky. But let's just say that it turns out like it does now when we end up with 5 or 6 wins. Like you might as well have fun getting those 5 or 6 wins and doing some things that are like really kind of out there and just not normal the way like normal NFL teams operate. There's we're already assuming we're missing the playoffs. People are assuming that they're going to fire Joe Barry at the end of the year. They're assuming they're going to fire Matt LaFleur at the end of the year. The offensive coordinator is gone at the end of the year. Like they assume everything's going to get blown up anyway. You might as well start having fun and start winning games, right? And so it's just something that having the mental adjustment there is going to be challenging.
Yeah, no, I like it. Play like you got nothing to lose. Have some fun. They did have that one like double pass in this game, and that seemed to help them catch some rhythm. I think that sparked them to go down, and I think that might have been the one where they missed the field goal. But yeah, let's get into the threats here. One of the threats that I got is if like the players stop believing in what the coaching staff is putting out for them, things could get pretty bad. So I do think your little thing of just like trying to have more fun with them might be a way to get them back on their side. But like we saw in the Raiders game, it did look like Christian Watson was like a little bit frustrated in whatever was going on. And he just did not look like he was giving it all at the end of that game. So that could be a threat. Right now, it feels like every time one of our wide receivers get the ball, they seem to get hurt. So our wide receivers being made of glass does not suit us very well. So that could be a threat. More injuries. It does seem like everybody on our team is getting hurt pretty good. And then the last one, I think that Mike wrote, but he's messing around with some stuff now, is a conservative attitude towards the offensive side of the ball. Every time they need to open the playbook and start doing something, they can, but early on, they are playing like they are afraid to lose. Very well said, Mike. I like that. Can you still hear me, or are you just
Yeah, I can.
what?
So my light went off. I was trying to fix it, and now it's I'm not fixing it though. So we're
Yeah,
good to
just
go.
keep it. Stay in dark mode.
Yeah, apparently this
But
is
yeah,
the way Soul feels about the Packers right at the moment. So
yeah,
all right. So I'm sorry, I was not paying good attention to the things that I actually wrote, but uh, yeah, I feel like they're playing like they're afraid to lose in a whole lot of ways, and that's the way I thought they played the last drive. Right. So you get that big pass to Dylan, and then it was like, all right, we can't fuck this up now. What if Jordan Love throws an interception and we fumble? Who gives a fuck? Right? Like if Jordan Love's going to be the guy that makes us fail, we're going to see that this year and then move on.
yeah. No, I 100% like it. I think now that we're 2-4, yeah, just let's flip the script on its head and just start going out there and trying to let it rip more so than we are. But yeah, that's good. Get into your numbers here that
Oh
you
yeah, I
came
want
up.
to jump into just some like pretty dumb things because I don't think anything is actually like relatable from the 2008 season. 2008 season is the first year that Rodgers played 16 games. Uh, However, in 2008, the Packers go 6-10. So they win their first two games, lose their next three, win two more, and then they finish up beating. No, yeah, beat Chicago and then beat Detroit again. I think it's the way it ends up being, right? They beat the Colts, who I assume were good that year. I mean, I would assume Peyton Manning was playing in 2008, and like how we ended up winning that game, no clue, right? And the Seahawks, no idea how good they were. But they didn't win, so they lost 7 close games, 4 points or less. They didn't win one game that was within 4 points. So no games that they played in tight games did they win. So all 6 wins were by 10 or more points, I think. And so I just feel like basically the fact that we're in these close games and losing them doesn't like signify that we are in like tear it down mode. We need to start completely over. I think you could have, and I don't think we want to be what the Vikings were last year, where you were like exceptionally lucky on in every game. Now I'd love that because that means we're winning, but I think even if it reverses just a bit, we're probably 500 team this year.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I don't think it's tear down. I know people are calling for Matt LaFleur's head right now, but I just don't fully get it. The Joe Barry stuff I do kind of get because that seems like it's been fairly consistently bad. But the
Yep.
Matt LaFleur stuff is like you can't get a brand new quarterback first year with him. Well, you guys are just feeling each other out, learning to just let him go. Because I do think he is a good play caller, and I think he'll be able to figure out a way to get this offense ticking a little bit better. But it's taken a little bit more time than us Packer fans that have been pretty spoiled having back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks are used to. But you bring up the 2008 stuff. I would have to like scratch my brain a little bit to figure out like how I felt in that season. But I do remember leaving that season thinking like, we got our guy. Like there was a lot of positives came out of it, and I still think we could get there this season.
Which is weird because I think that we had, I want to say, like 5 out of those 6, at least 4 of them came in the first half of the season. So you might have won 2 games in your last 8.
Yeah, and I could be completely wrong. Like maybe I was like, why did we do this? Why did we get rid of Favre if he's going to play for 3 more years? But
Yeah, like I just don't know. I don't know. I have no idea where my mindset was with it either. And I remember being kind of on board with Rodgers right out the jump because Favre retired. And if you hadn't like played those fucking stupid games, then I
yeah,
might not get on board with it. But like I was on board with just moving on. Like I just thought you can't retire and then come back and then expect them to bend over backwards for you. I probably would have the opposite attitude currently.
yeah. No, I gotcha. But that is our Packer breakdown, unless you have anything to add there. All
Nope.
right, so let's get into jump around with us. So Wisconsin at Illinois. We're gonna try to do this one a little bit faster. I think we're at the 40-minute mark of our recording, but Wisconsin ends up winning this one at Illinois. So at Champaign, 25-21. I gotta put my hand up. I didn't actually get to watch this one live, which was a little bit disappointing, but it was actually super fun to go back and watch this game. Just a little bit of the story for it. So Badgers do fall behind 14-0. I cannot remember their quarterback's name off the top of my head. But
Altmaier.
Altmaier, he was running all over the field on the Badgers. We had, Lock. I mean, Lock for us. Had a bad fumble early that set them up for their first touchdown. And then a turnover on downs, which I think was actually like a blocked field goal. It looked windy as shit. So I think it was just a bad snap. I don't even think it was.
It was definitely windy in western Wisconsin. Maybe not in south central Wisconsin, but definitely in western Wisconsin. It was.
Yeah, yeah. The wind was ripping there. So bad snap turns into not getting a field goal off.
Oh,
So they don't even call it a missed field goal. What?
the game was in Champaign, wasn't in
Yeah,
Madison.
yeah, in Champaign. But I mean, parallel
Front.
ish. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look at.
no,
I'm basically a weatherman.
yeah, no, there was a cold front that pushed through, and then the low tightened up the pressure gradient, so it was pretty windy. And I bet you the wind was blowing from the northwest. So, anyways, that gives them a 14 to nothing lead. Where the Badgers could have just been like, "Fuck, man, we just lost this shitty ass game to Iowa. We're down 14 nothing in Champaign. Like we can, like our season's over. Like we don't win this one, we don't have a shot at the West." Nothing, but they did not do that. They started feeding our boy Allen the ball, and some of our receivers just started coming up with very big catches. But we do put a touchdown drive together at the end of the second quarter to go into halftime. We are down 7-14. Next thing is Illinois gets another touchdown, goes up 21-7, where the Badgers respond with a field goal. And then let's see how much time's left in the game. Anyways, going to the third quarter, we are down 21. Yeah, we were down 21-7 going into the fourth quarter. And then they just clutch up in the fourth quarter and end with their last three drives being a field goal, a touchdown, and then another touchdown. And the first touchdown was an amazing catch by Pauling. So that was some good shit. And then the second touchdown was set up by an amazing catch by Skylar Bell, to put the Badgers on like the 1 yard line to set up I don't know if you'd call it a trick play, but like kind of a trick play.
The big touchdown, right? So like I don't know, he was 93.
Yeah, he was number 93.
Probably.
Nolan Rucci. The call for that was actually pretty good. But yeah, basically we had our heavy package in, made them definitely think that Braylon Allen was going to be getting the ball and do a play action, toss it to a defensive lineman, and score a touchdown.
Fourth down, correct?
Third down. So we did have another shot at it. But it was a pretty ballsy call. But yeah, watching this game back, it looks like the Badgers kind of figured out a rhythm. And
so it's third down, but a field goal ties it. It was 21-18.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So like you're really probably that is your last opportunity to get it.
Yeah. No, they put their nuts on the table for that one. But it was either that or overtime. So that was nice.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world for sure, but
yeah. But yeah, I don't think we're going to go into the full out SWAT in this one, but they did feed Braylon Allen the ball. So he had 29 carries, 145 yards, and a touchdown. I want to say he might have had no, he didn't have a big reception, but then Will Pauling, 7 catches, 95 yards, pretty awesome touchdown. And then Skylar Bell came up with that big 30-yard catch. And Braden Locke, from what I've seen, so I didn't get to see it live, like I said, I was kind of liking what I was seeing from him. One bad fumble, but other than that, he was 21 of 41. So they did make him throw the ball quite a bit for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. But other than that, Wisconsin's defense was solid. The only time they were really giving up stuff was when they were put in bad spots. And yeah, it was a great win. Then Iowa goes out and loses to Minnesota, and Badgers are in control of their own destiny. So I guess that would be the opportunity. That would be the O in the SWAT for the Badgers breakdown. But the threat would be we're going to OSU, and we could get demoralized by those guys if we don't get our shit together. No, I mean, they're coming to Madison.
But it doesn't matter, right? Like, so at this point in the rivalry with Ohio State, that would not matter. But here is the opportunity out of the Ohio State game is that you hang with them or you beat them, and you actually change your program, right?
Yeah.
You change the attitude towards Ohio State, and the program actually starts to change right here, right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is a big opportunity. And it's kind of like we were saying with the Packers too, if you want to kind of parallel them up, it's kind of a game you go into with like nothing to lose. So you could be as crazy as you want. Kind of like the water boy saying last game of the season can't hold anything back now. I mean, it's not the last game of the season, but you got to play it kind of like it is. Like you got nothing to lose. They have everything to lose.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. I mean, so not everything, I guess, but they have enough to lose. I guess they lose to us. Then they are required to beat Michigan, right? There's no opportunity for another loss. You probably can't make the Final Four if you lose to the Badgers this season.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it was your one hiccup, I think Ohio State, a one-loss Ohio State, that wins the Big Ten, especially if they play Wisconsin again in the Big Ten title and get through them. Still makes the national championship. But that is what I have for the Badger game. Do you have more? I know we didn't get to break them down too much, but I did want to kind of keep this episode in the 30 to 45-minute pocket, and we're pushing it now.
I didn't have too much more for it. I thought the Badgers, it was good to see them fight back and pull out a win in a game that was looking like they were going to do what they did last year against them, is start pressing and then fall way behind. And maybe that's the change that Fickle's brought. I didn't get to see much of it either. I was watching fourth graders play flag football. So
yeah, and I had company in town, and I couldn't bring someone I drove 6 hours to my house and just make him sit and watch football the whole day, because he was not that type of football fan at all. But as always, thank you for listening. We love you guys. We appreciate the support. We're going to keep trying to make this thing better. So I think we'll get a better rhythm of breaking down the Packers game a little bit faster. We do tend to get hung up on some stuff, but like I said, we appreciate the support. Mike, what do you got for him?
Make sure you download it, subscribe to it, see us on YouTube. And if you're doubting the Brewers, the Bucks, the Badgers, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Beat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.